So today I was showing you a game which was played really soon on the tournament between Magnus Carlsen and Tari Aryan. So it's the FIDE World Cup. And in this game I will show you how Magnus beat Tari Aryan. And by the way, he's doing pretty good. He didn't lose so far. So without further ado, let's get right into the game. E4, that's how Tari Aryan starts. In c5, Carlsen wants to play the Sicilian defense. Knight f3, e6. He plays some Sicilian French variation. d4. d3 also makes a bit of sense, but he played d4, so we're watching that. cd4, knight d4, knight c6, just normal developing. Knight c3, a6, bishop f4. Everything's developing. I don't know exactly why he played a6. Maybe he just didn't want, I don't know, bishop e5 or knight b5. Or it's just his repertoire. Bishop f4, d6. I think that's the point in e6. You don't play e5 straight away, so you don't have a bad pawn on d6, and d5 square will be bad if you play e5 straight away and then d6. So he wants e6, d6, and then when he wants to play d5. So knight c6, bc6, he has a bad pawn on a6, but we're still not an endgame. Queen d2, e5, bishop g5, knight f6, king castle, h6. We can see Magnus isn't even in king castle, but right now, white can't actually do anything. He doesn't have the king castle yet. Bishop h4, bishop e6. By the way, you can see this game now, how I'm watching on Chess24. Bishop e2, a5, and king b1. Rook b8, king a1. I don't know exactly why. Maybe he just wanted to like move the king from the b file, but it's not really a useful move. He just kind of wasted his time. Carlsen is already in the small plus here. Queen b6, b3, queen b4. You can see that White's king is pretty bad right now. Black still can get an advantage, a big advantage with that fact, but it could kind of change the position later on, which it did actually. F3 because Black's threatening. Sometimes maybe knight e4. I don't think yet because he needs the queen very much, but sometimes he can do it. So f3, bishop e7, and now he finally plays king castle in the 17th move. Excellent. Those are the chess rules. You need to play king castle in the 17th move, right, guys? He didn't need it before, though. Bishop f6, queen d2. He first takes the queen. I guess he has a little better endgame. Rook d2, bishop f6. Right now, bishop f6 isn't really, I think, the best move. Yeah, because bishop f6, the bishop isn't doing anything. He'd have a better function if we play d5 and then do something on the queen side. So f6, g4, completely useless in my opinion. d5, rook hd1, h5, and now h3, because if he eats, he's still gonna somehow take that pawn eventually. hg4, h takes g4, king g7, he wants to maybe rook h8 sometimes. King b2, de4, fe4, rook h8. Now, I don't know if you guys can see the evolution that's right here, but black is much better, and Well, the position just a couple of moves ago. It was equal, and now he's 143 and plus. So that's actually amazing. They just play some normal moves, and then all of a sudden you see, oh wow, he's 1 plus. It's actually very beautiful if we're thinking like that. So rook d3, rook h2, bishop f3, rook f2, rook d2, rook from 1 to d2, rook d2, rook d2, king g6. Now this is a better endgame for Carlsen. First of all, his king's more active. The knight has nowhere to go. I mean, the position's a bit more open, I think. So and that's good for the bishops. And yeah, his rook has more chances of being active. Rook h2, king g5, knight c3, rook d8, pretty normal, knight e2, a4, this is my favorite move in the game. If he eats, we can just simply, well, actually, I'll show you guys. So, I mean, if he eats, you can just, well, for example, what the computer says, rook b8, you see he's 1 and plus. Rook b8's all, yeah, good. And, oops, sorry. When he plays this, I think bishop a3 would be good. Moves the king, bishop a2 if you want, and there you go. He's holding the position good. So, a4, he played king c3, which was pretty bad. Rook b8. I think the best move isn't that. The best move is, yeah, king g6. Or you can just play a3. That's actually pretty good. And that pawn will eventually turn into open mode. Just need some time. But okay, he's still better here. Rook b8. King b2, a3 now. Works now too. King c1, I don't know why. I think king c3 would have been better. Rook d8. Rook h5, it's just a check. It's really nothing. King g6, knight to g3. Bishop b4, it looks like black's almost getting a mate. I mean, white's getting a mate. Knight f5, bishop d2. King b1, bishop c3. Knight e7, king g7. Rook h2. Rook to d7, knight f5, bishop f5, gf5, and you can clearly see it's drawn now, but still Carlsen's position, if we count it by the way endgames go, it's definitely better. Rook d4 because his rook is more active than white's rook. It just, yeah. Kings to c1. King f8, king b1, king e7. White's just trying to do something, but he has nothing to do. Rook d8, king c1, c5. Black's just waiting for white to make a mistake. Bishop e2, bishop b2, king b1, rook h8, rook g1, rook h4, rook d3, king d6, rook d1, king c7. Now Carlsen's just holding the position in the endgame. Nothing really specifically interesting is happening. Rook e1, king b6. He's maneuvering the king. Rook d1, rook g4, rook e1, king a5. Now this is a bit of a mistake, I think, but it's really nothing special. King at a5, rook d1, king b4. He's still winning. Rook e1, see, White had absolutely nothing to play. He's just moving the rook. Rook d1, rook e1. Has nothing. Rook f4, rook h1, rook g4, rook e1, rook h4, rook g1. He's just moving the rook. This is practically for resigning. Bishop d4. I mean, if he's just going to move the rook, I don't see the point of doing this game. He's just going to do that. Rook f1, bishop e3, rook d1, bishop d2, and rook f4. In case someone didn't see, if he eats, yeah, I mean, checkmate done. Okay, yeah. So let's get back to the actual game. Rook f1, king c3, rook f3, the worst move he could have played. King d4, rook f1, c4, bishop c4, king e4, bishop f7, king d4, c3, I don't know why, king c3, rook f3, king d4, he just wanted to probably find a stalemate, king c2, e4, rook f2, bishop b4, bishop c4, rook h1, bishop f1, rook g1, rook e2, rook f1, rook d5. He probably resigned because, in case someone was like, what? He just takes it. It's just drawing. I mean, it's stalemates. But he can just, for example, move king c5. And yeah, White has nothing, absolutely. I'm pretty sure he was just like, okay, rook d5, he eats stalemate. There we go. But then he was like, oh no. So, yeah, that's how Carlsen beat Tari Aryan. And until the next video, see you soon.